Yes, I am using this awful webcam again, but this video may get long because I'm going to talk about my life with professional wrestling. Now, the one word that's really annoyed me over the last near 24 years is fake. Yes, we know it's been predetermined for like 60 years. It's probably scripted more than it's ever been, but the fake word's really insulting because it takes a toll on their bodies. I mean, Steve Austin's neck injury sure as hell isn't fake. I mean, he had to end his career earlier than he would have liked, and fuck, than I would have liked to miss him. Um, but yeah, their bodies go through a lot of pain putting on these matches, putting on these performances, and it really bugs me. I just let it go over my head now because I can't be bothered explaining to people who are just going to look down at it. But fakes definitely shouldn't be a word used to describe their performances for our entertainment. Just look at Hell in the Cell Mick Foley when he's too fetted up his nose. I mean, can't really fake that, can you? So yeah, it's been a big. To say it's been a huge part of my life would be a understatement. I've been a fan since I was 3 years old. I was actually even born on one of their big four pay-per-views, their Survivor Series. Then the first event I watched was the second annual Survivor Series. So you can imagine my rage when Vince was going to pull the plug on Survivor Series. I was fuming mad. Because, Survivor Series can be maybe the third best pay-per-view of the year if booked right. I mean, it's had some tremendous elimination matches over the years. Like the two that spring to mind was Team WWF versus the Alliance. That was a fucking awesome elimination match. Then a couple years later, you had Team Austin versus Team Eric Bischoff and Shawn Michaels. That is probably my second or third best Shawn Michaels performance. That was like that pay per view from top to bottom was really memorable. You had the opening elimination match with Team Lesnar versus Team Angle. That was a hard hitting affair. And then you had Shane McMahon and Kane. You had The Undertaker getting buried, and then he would come back as his old gimmick character, the Dead Man. Goldberg and Triple H, and then you had this awesome elimination match with Austin's job on the line as he was GM of Raw at the time, and it was just a tremendous match. It was really, really good. Shawn Michaels stole the show. When he first came back, you did wonder if you could still perform to the high levels he did in throughout the 90s. And my goodness, that was an amazing performance. And, there was a lot of blood used in that match as well. And here's another thing that most people don't know is the blood. A lot of it, I'm not sure if all of it was real because they don't use it anymore unless it's by accident. Like what happened with Brock Lesnar against Roman Reigns in the main event this year. Brock Lesnar wasn't supposed to be cut open, and he ended up bleeding during a move. But they banned blood for various reasons. But the blood used to be real as well. They used to cut themselves. It used to hide a small blade in the tape of their finger. I think Triple H used to do that. Or the referee would hand it to him. You can see the referee blatantly handing The Rock a small blade in his WrestleMania X7 main event match with Austin. I think when he went to cut himself first time, it didn't really work so good, so you had to do it again and again and again. But yeah, that when I found that the blood was real, I was amazed because I thought it was fake. Before I found out how they did it, because it's cool as a fan to think that the blood was actually real, but another part of me thinks it's kind of silly because people are going to think it's fake anyway. Um, so what's the point in cutting yourself if people are going to think it's fake anyway? But as a fan, I thought it was cool, but they've done away with blood now. But yeah, the fake words annoyed me. When people talk about and like say when I'm out and stuff, and I pretend not to hear to always talk about like it's just two guys who aren't really tough. I'm not saying everyone in the wrestling business. Well, actually, you have to have a toughness to be in the wrestling business. I think everyone does. Obviously, there's some tougher than others, but yeah, I think it's a real annoyance when you hear people who don't have a clue about wrestling talk about like it's just you know um, two fake fighters play fighting and hardly just tickle each other and everybody goes home happy. No, it's not quite like that. Their job is to protect each other, but it takes a toll on their bodies, and one mistake can be life-threatening or even worse at times. Well, yeah, another, people used to say to me about a number of things, not just wrestling. When I was a kid, they'd say, "Oh, one day you'll grow out of that, and you'll grow out a bond," or the other one was for me, and you'll support Aberdeen, and none of those three things happened, and they never will. I like what I like, and I'm what I am, and I was a bit miffed about this outgrowing things, and if you like it, why stop watching it? My only regret about watching it is that I wasn't more involved. I wish I wasn't so depressed as a teenager, and I wished I watched more of it. Well, I did still watch a lot of it back then, but I wished I just watched even more and got less depressed and had more T-shirts and things. I've been to WrestleMania. That's still the best day of my life. It was WrestleMania 25. It won't go down in history as the greatest WrestleMania ever, but it did contain maybe the best WrestleMania match ever, and one of the greatest matches. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. It got rave reviews, and I can tell you, watching it live and in person was. I've never experienced anything like it in my life, and I don't think it was. They talk about it being fake and all that, but I've never felt real emotion like that, and it was it's hard to explain what being a part of the crowd watching that match was like, but I felt really lucky, and the crowd ate it up, and it was just one of those moments. It was my first WrestleMania, first televised wrestling show, WWE show, and it was just awesome day. It's Father's Day tomorrow, and I've never had a father figure in my life, but come to think of it, I think the wrestlers were my father figures growing up in a strange sort of way. I've always looked up to them. I love hearing all their shoot interviews. I love hearing Andre the Giant stories. I love hearing Steve Austin's show. I love his podcast and Jake's stories and stories about Harley Race, and wrestling's really bonded me, made me have great bonds with certain individuals in my life, like me and my sister's boyfriend. We have a great bond, and it stemmed from us both growing up with wrestling, and we'll often go over there and we'll watch Ultimate Warrior, one of his matches, or we'll watch Harley Race, or one of the Golden Era Survivor Series, or Summer Slams. Another event that I loved and still do, although the last 2 years, for some reason, the match has been poorly booked, is the Royal Rumble. I mean, it's like one of those events and matches that you can only find in wrestling 30 men, 2-star every 2 minutes. Another wrestler will come in, and it's just a great match, great concept, and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, I've always looked forward to it when January comes around. Of course, my favorite of all time is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Some people think it was Steve Austin that got me into wrestling, but that's wrong. It was actually, I got into wrestling when I was free. I didn't know who Steve Austin was, as I just watched WWF. And my two heroes, who still are, were Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. I had a Jake the Snake Roberts poster. So it was years until, years before Stone Cold Steve Austin character came on the go. And I didn't even like him when he first came in. I was like, who's this bald man? I was a big fan of Shawn Michaels with the long hair at the time, and I was perhaps like Shawn a little bit more than just as a wrestler. But anyways, that's another video for another time. But it took a couple of years before I liked Steve Austin, and then I was just like, if Hogan and Warrior got me into wrestling, Steve Austin made me a fan for life.